So you guys, this is the beginning of your subtractive drawing. So I have one of the photos on the left and the beginning of a charcoal subtractive drawing on the right. So the first layer is easiest if you use a vine charcoal, so it's not too terribly dark, and it's also very easy to get off of the page. Remember when you put your charcoal down to use the flat side of the vine, and a rag, a soft rag. You really don't want a lot of noise from this layer. You want it to be really soft and just an even tone. So definitely use your rag and soften that tone out. You just need enough so that when you erase, you can see your drawing. So you're going to use your eraser the way you've been using your pencil. So I'm looking for spheres. So the skull itself is a sphere. The teeth coming down are actually just, it's like a cup right here. It's a cylinder attached at the bottom. I'm looking for the cylinder at the bottom of this face, cylinder at the top going up to a cone, a bit of another sphere at the top sitting inside your vase. You're looking for the shapes that you understand, okay? Whenever you have small details too, like the bugs on the boxes, I have this tendency to ignore them at the beginning and get the main body of the drawing done first, and then I place them in later because they're so easy. You're welcome to do that if it helps you. So I'm going to let this play and kind of talk about what I'm doing. So you want to erase, and you want to erase hard. So use your white eraser and really pull back. You want to get further than you actually need, so that you can then add back some charcoal on top. You also want your brights to be as bright as possible, so I really press on my eraser. I'm not working lightly at all, unless I'm only trying to take a small amount of value away. At the beginning too, you might want to have a brush set aside so that you can get all of the erasing marks off without ruining your drawing. That's going to help you from smudging, I think. You also want to remember what you're drawing. So when you have your eraser in your hand, you are working from your core highlights. You are drawing light. So don't get confused and start using your eraser like you are drawing shadows, because that's your habit, okay? And that happens a lot. So whenever you have your eraser in your hand, you should only be thinking about light. How is the light hitting a sphere? How is the light hitting a cylinder? How is the light hitting a torus? But every shape is up there. You just have to think about how and what direction the light is coming. After you pull away a lot of the eraser, you can add a bit of a charcoal. But notice that I don't go as dark as I could, and then I blend with my blending stump. I kind of want to build up my blacks slowly, because once you get them really dark, it's actually kind of hard to take it away. So I am slowly building these darks up. When you move back to your charcoal, you just remind yourself you're shifting what you're looking at. Now I'm drawing shadows. Then I'm drawing highlights. Then I'm drawing shadows. But you might not be surprised, but that many people accidentally start doing the opposite. They start using the charcoal on highlights and erasers for shadows. So just, be very aware of when you switch. So it's good to do a layer of eraser and then a layer of charcoal, and then come back with a layer of your eraser, and then back and add with a layer of your charcoal. Now this is an additive and subtractive method that I like. You can just develop a really dark and only erase. It's also a method that works for this. I personally like this idea of adding, subtracting. I also think it keeps you on your toes intellectually, so that you're really always aware of if you're looking at shadows or highlights, because that's really what you're doing. Notice too that after the first layer, we're not so interested in line anymore. It's always about value meeting value, okay? There's a couple edges, but I usually try to pull those edges into a value shape. So even though I edge out the inside of the eye, I then pull it into a value shape, okay? I'm not interested in line so much as I am this dark shape meeting this light shape, right? This medium value meeting this dark value. So really, you should be making value judgments as you go. Is this a light object on a mid value? Is this a mid value on a dark background? That kind of information and way of thinking is going to help you move in large sections. Also notice I am not drawing the skull and then finishing the skull and moving to the book. I'm finishing the book and moving to the cylinder. You want to pull this drawing up in layers all together because it's the corresponding relationships that helps you keep things together. Like I noticed how much the vase and the skull have in common, right? Like they're both made of spheres and kind of cylinders, right? Like there's a whole lot in common here. And when I draw them together, I notice that. I also notice this beautiful negative shape that occurs right here. That negative shape actually helped me start because it helps me find the bird, the skull to the vase. So this drawing draws on everything we've done. You should think about contour. You should think about edge. You should think about core shadow to core highlight. You should think about spheres, cubes, cylinders. Okay? So I think if you can get to this part of the drawing, like trying to stay with your charcoal and your big eraser, it's at this point that I would probably move to a charcoal pencil. If you don't have one, get one, because you can get really tiny detail then with the charcoal pencil where you can't with the block. Okay? All right, hope that helps.